Hello shooters, thank you for watching the Tye Iron channel. This is an episode of Tye Iron Goes to School. This is an old Savage 99 that is my father-in-law's that has a cool story behind it, and this has been a tool for a long time. This is no Safe Queen. Let's get into it. Okay, shooters, my father-in-law came into possession of this in around 1955. This particular rifle was made in 1912, the same year that the 22 high power cartridge came out. We'll look at that just a little bit later. But how my father-in-law came into possession of this, there was a guy by the name of Lee Downey that lived in Wyoming. He was born in 1883, 1885, somewhere around there. Moved to Wyoming at some point in time. He was a sheep herder by trade, and he found this Lee guy found this. There's at a sheep bedding place. Sheep, bed down for the night, and he found this at one of the places where his sheep were bedding down. No idea how long it had been laying there. The stock was broke. The barrel's bent a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit later, but this rifle has character. It has been used and rode hard and put away wet. Let's get some close-ups of this. Okay, we're going to start off just with a general overview of this. When my father-in-law got this in the mid-50s, there was some baling wire, and you could see where someone had taken and cut a little groove in the wood there. They'd taken some baling wire and wrapped around here to help hold the stock the stock onto the receiver. You can see that this has seen some weather. There's a patina. There's rust pitting on all the steel surfaces. The gun still works though. You can see there's some wood missing there. You can see where it's been busted here. All these brads were added and some wood filler or something to help keep the stock together. When my father-in-law got a hold of it, it was taped. Right, you can see where the tape was. Right here it was taped, and here it would have been outside of a saddle rig, a scabbard that they have on a gun, so that's why it's weather beaten down here. But underneath the tape it's okay, and up here in the rest of the part of the gun it's okay too. But I believe that this was, whoever had this in their saddle got bucked off, or the horse fell over and rolled over it, because that's what broke the stock, and I think that's what probably bent the barrel a little bit. But this is that repair right here. Also, what's really cool and interesting, I think anyway, is one of these old sheep herders made this buttstock, the butt pad here, just out of another piece of wood. They even really, put some checkering on it with their pocket knife. But that's that's a do-it-yourself butt pad right there. Then as we move up the rifle, you see that it's all been worn. .22 high power right there. This forearm comes off rather easily and kind of cool. There's rust on the outside of the barrel. There's rust and pitting on the inside of the barrel as too. There's no telling how long it was laying there when this other sheep herder found it. There was cartridges in it when he found it, and the cartridges, this was word passed down from decades and decades ago. The cartridges didn't look to be too tarnished, but in Wyoming, with the weather as dry as it is there, it could be laying there for some months, a long time, before you're going to get that brass to tarnish inside the receiver like that. But let's look at the ammo. No manufacturer in the United States makes ammo for it. Um, Cellier and Bellet, they make it there in Europe. I could only find one loading, and that's a Full Metal Jacket loading. This is kind of a cool looking old cartridge, really tapered. Here it is 5.56 right next to it. It's a really tapered cartridge. The shoulder there is really shallow angle on the shoulder. The diameter of the bullet is 227. This is 223. This is 227. Or, this is 5.56. Europeans call this 5.6. So it's a little bit bigger in diameter than 223. This is supposed to go around 2,700 feet a second when it comes out of the gun. Back in those days, this was a screamer. This was a extreme high velocity, small. This was the first successful high velocity, small caliber bullet. People used this to shoot. There's tale of a guy shooting a Cape Buffalo with one of these. I would hate to, go hunting with a Cape Buffalo with this little cartridge, but back then, this was the first one to do that. I can tell the barrel is bent because I tried to sight it in for my father-in-law. This is where the group's where I'm aiming right here, and this is at 25 yards, folks. This bullet I shot when the target was at 50 yards, and I aimed at the bottom of the paper because I wasn't even on paper. So at 50 yards, I aimed at the bottom of the paper, and I hit there. I brought the target back to 25 yards. Point of aim was right there, and my impact is up here. And there's absolutely no way. This is as low as it goes. The rear sight goes. I'd have to raise that front sight, a half inch or so to get it to shoot straight. So I believe the barrel's bent. As I mentioned, the barrel is pitted inside. Not horrible. I mean, it's not as bad as some of the Yugoslavian SKSs I've seen, but it's got an interesting old action. This action was developed and was invented in 1899. 1899. I mean, it's got a rotary magazine inside, internal rotary magazine. From all accounts, it's got a really strong action. You can put some quite powerful cartridges in this action, and Savage did. There's people that use Savages to this day. They have quite a cult following. This is just a cool old rifle. Okay, shooters, I did take it out to the range and put some rounds through it. This is the box of rounds. They're a little over $1 a piece by the time of shipping and blah blah blah. I didn't load this at my house because this thing hasn't been fired for longer than I've been alive, and I didn't want to have to unload it in my house with the possibility of it going off. So I have a little bit of trouble loading this rotary magazine for the first time, but it worked out. You just kind of push on. I'm not sure. I didn't know how many it was going to hold, so I just kind of pushed on them till it quit going in. But you can see I made a little bit of a mistake here. I'm thinking, crap, maybe that's all the last one goes in like that. I'm wrong. It kind of forces a double feed. So I think, all right, I'll push them in there harder. And it does hold 5 rounds, 5 cartridges. And I do load it. It locks up nice and tight, so I wasn't afraid about the gun blowing up in my face. There's the target down there at 50 yards. This is did initials. I thought it would at least be on paper at 50 yards. It wasn't. The recoil is very mild. Even with this wooden buttstock, it's not. It's really mild. The recoil is really mild on this thing. It's basically a weak 5.56. So I cranked off 5 or so rounds with this thing. Nice gun to shoot. I wish the barrel wasn't bent because it's a fun gun to shoot. It doesn't kick bad. The sighting arrangement is what you would expect from 1899. So it's, not anything like what I'm used to. But and the trigger pull was hard. But that's, what do you expect for a gun that is, it was made in 1912. It's, 105 years old. I like old firearms that have stories to tell and that have been used. You know, old Save Queens don't mean that much to me, but old rifles or handguns or shotguns that have you can absolutely tell they've been a tool to somebody and have a story to tell, I think they're cool. Anyhow, if you have some stories of some old firearms, post them down below. I'd like to hear about them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate all the shares, likes, and subscribes. And have a nice day.